The Shining is essentially a ghost story, but in the 1980s Stanley Kubrick's The Shining explores more than just the occupancy of ghosts in the Overlook Hotel. Although Stanley Kubrick is known for minimal mise-en-scène, Kubrick's use of color in defining each character's fate overlooks the real fear factor of The Shining, the fall of the nuclear family. The Shining has a visual allegory that unveils the profound impacts of the women's movement and the disintegration of the American family. Through meticulous attention to detail, Kubrick weaves a narrative where the characters' appearances become symbolic representation of societal shifts, ultimately reflecting the erosion of conventional familial structures amidst the changing dynamics of gender roles and expectations during the era of the women's movement. We know and meet the Torrance family as an ordinary functional family, almost representing a stereotypical family. Wendy at home making breakfast for her husband every morning, Jack being the main breadwinner, working every day when staying at the Overlook, and Danny their son. On the surface, they exude a semblance of normalcy, but its subtle nuances and strained interactions hint at a family dynamic characterized by unspoken struggles and family disconnect. Regarding the Torrance family, Jack, Wendy, and Danley are mostly seen wearing the color red. Even in the beginning of The Shining, Wendy is seen wearing a red long sleeve and blue overalls, which throughout the course of this movie changes based on her relations with Jack. Wendy, when we first see her, is wearing a bright red long sleeve and a blue jean dress. Wendy is polite, compliant, and well-mannered. What's notable is the bright red and blue color. It serves as a visual metaphor for the intricate dynamics in the American family. Wendy's shift in costume shifts with the build-up and shifts with Jack's psychotic break. As we know, Jack is struggling to get back on his feet after losing his job back in Vermont. Attempting to write his book, we see his clear motives to continue being the main breadwinner. In this particular scene, Jack is wearing dark green, which is heavily related to abundance and money, and on the other hand, Wendy is wearing a blue dress and red boots representing loyalty and trust. The switch in Jack's tone follows the coloring in their clothing. Visually, from the start, we can see Jack pull away from Wendy as she kisses his cheek. This moment in time symbolizes Wendy's ability to hold onto her family, even through Jack's failures. This is what women are told to do. Even with that, Jack is short-tempered, saying, "Wendy, let me explain something to you."
Let me explain something to you. Whenever you come in here and interrupt me, you're breaking my concentration. You're distracting me, and it will then take me time to get back to where I was. Understand?
Jack is ashamed and frustrated he can't complete his book. Kubrick weaves these aspects together in order to establish their particular relationship slowly deteriorating. Each has different motives and struggles in this moment, and the fate of their relationship is particularly shown in each pattern of clothing. As Jack slowly becomes crazy through his stay in the Overlook Hotel, Kubrick explores this transformation through his interactions with each ghost, but importantly, the prominent coloring of each room. There are many elements to Jack's collapse. Jack feels weak, unmasculine due to losing his job. His relationship with his son has declined, and he is struggling to grasp his own self-worth. The woman in the green room begins to seduce Jack into the delusions and the ghosts of the Overlook. And finally, Jack is completely pulled into his delusions and psychotic breakdown after meeting the old owner in the red room. Finally, the transformation of each character. We fully understand the shift in each character's fate and the repercussions of the nuclear family. Wendy, loyal, compliant, and the perfect housewife. In every part of The Shining, Wendy is wearing clothing that represents these traits. Her blue dress signifying her loyalty, ultimately switching to a green plaid shirt. Green speaks to the woman's intuition, to protect your children at all costs, even if it's from your husband. She's stripped of her want of the perfect American family and is ready to protect. The dialogue in this scene fits perfectly too. Come out wherever you are" is something that children say when playing hide and seek. Jack is almost intimidating his relationship with his son, and he continues to do this with Wendy as well, saying, "Wendy, I'm home," referring to the classic family norms, men coming home from work to see their wives.
Wendy, I'm home.
Interestingly, Wendy is wearing a blue robe in this scene. Her figure movement attests to this. Her eyebrows are raised, mouth open, with tears flowing out of her eyes. Throughout this scene, she is squinting her eyes as well. Wendy is in disbelief, almost like she doesn't want to believe what her husband is doing. Wendy is shocked, and her blue robe almost symbolizes her holding on to this idea of family and the perfect family. The transformation of coloring of clothing represents the shift in each character's idea of the perfect American family, and which makes The Shining extremely haunting for familial reasons as well as ghosts.